And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to WTL, to World Team League 2023 Winter Code S. We just wrapped up with Team Liquid versus Team Basilisk. It was a nail biter, went all the way to the ace match, went all the way to game 7. But now we have returned with our second matchup of the night. It's going to be the Starving Camels SSLT versus PSISTORM Gaming. Two teams that are maybe a little bit less profile, but I think there's a lot of potential with PSISTORM. For those wondering, I mean, PSISTORM, they literally have the best Protoss player in Europe. They have MaxPax, you know? They have Spirit as well, who's a relatively new pickup. And you can make an argument that Spirit is top 2 Terran in Europe as well. For a long time, Spirit was top 3, but recently he has been outperforming Hero Marine. He has been outperforming Big Gabe in these big tournaments, and it's been really cool to see Spirit grow as a player. I think a lot of people will at least admit that over the past 2 years, Spirit has really come into his own and has really, been impressing us so much here with his performances, with his tournament runs, with how he played, with his playstyle as well. And here we go. We're getting into our next matchup. In the top left-hand corner of Dragon Scales, we have, for the Starving Camels, Silky. Silky's bookshelf. Spawning in the bottom right, we have the Polish Terran player for PSISTORM Gaming. It is Spirit. The ZVTs continue as Silky. Okay, we're going to be going for a 14 hatch. There you go. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've seen this. For those wondering, there are different kind of variations of these early hatch openers here. It's going to be a 14 hatch into a 15 pool. We have seen 14 hatches rise up in ZVP. Really interesting to see it here against Terran, though. It's interesting. I don't know how necessary it is. Like, for those wondering, Spirit, he's known for his greed. Like, Spirit is known for his macro play. He's not really an aggressive Terran player. This opener here from Silky is a way to cut corners, is a way to skip out on lings, defend early on with only queens, defend the Reapers with queens, and we can even go gasless and go for a fast third. I'm curious if that's the route that we're going for. If so, then I'm all for it. I'm all for a gasless opener to take advantage of the passivity of Spirit. But we'll see. As Spirit is just getting into his Rax Expand, Reaper first. We have seen Spirit in the past go for even CC first openers, but on a map as small as Dragon Scales, he's not quite going for that. Ooh, even sending an SCV out for a bit of a scout across the map. Just to keep an eye on Silky, which I think is a wise choice. There's so much to talk about when it comes to this match. The Starving Camels, they were the fan favorites last season. The Starving Camels, they surpassed expectations. They were the dark horse, the dark camels of the league, if you will. And the Starving Camels, they took down teams like Shopify Rebellion. They took down some big names, and they made it into the playoffs. You know, SSLT, they did what Shopify couldn't, which was insanely impressive. I think they even surpassed PSISTORM Gaming, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, it was really impressive to see the Starving Camels pop off last season. But the reality is, as the Reaper comes in for some harassment, and again, we don't have any links to defend because of the opener. It's only queens to defend here. We're trying to cut corners. We're trying to be greedy. And up! Oh, we lose a drone. Not quite worth it in the end if we start losing workers. But when it comes to the success of the Starving Camels and how well they performed last season, making it to the playoffs, surpassing teams like PSISTORM, for example, it was off of the back of their star player. It wasn't just their star player. It was a team effort, 100%. But Firefly was a big part of the Starving Camels. And unfortunately, in current era, he's no longer on the team. He was picked up by the Platinum Heroes. There was an interview on TL. There was an interview on Team Liquid a couple of days ago. And they interviewed the Starving Camels about it, and they're like, no, yeah, we support it. We don't really have much to pay our players. So for Firefly to be contracted by Platinum Heroes to get a better salary, like, let's go 100%. You know, we support him all the way. But it does mean that here in WTL, the Starving Camels, they suddenly have to make up for a big loss to their team. They have to make up for losing. I can't believe my eyes. Firefly. As we get into this game, though, it is going to be 2-base play. I'm a little bit shocked. No, a very delayed third base. We are going for additional gases. We have a Roach Warren, which has been scouted by Spirit. He has eyes on everything. He's aware of the roaches that are on the way. 7 roaches in production here by Silky. looking to make their way across the map. Now, the goal here for these roaches are to take control of the natural, but because Spirit saw it, Banshees are on the way. It was a 3cc opener, 3cc into Banshee from Spirit. Very safe play, and because of his Reaper, he's fully aware of the roaches that are coming out, and he's preparing for it. We have a bunker on the high ground, a Banshee in production, Hellions in position as well. The bunker is on the high ground because the reality is Spirit cannot defend his natural with what he has, especially with an economic opener, so he's ready to just evacuate the natural and defend on his main. Spirit is taking this very seriously. As Reaper comes in for a follow-up scout, confirms that the lair in production, the roaches have arrived. Oh, but the Banshee putting in a lot of work already. And there it is, Spirit, he does pull away from that natural base, doesn't want to lose any SCVs. Oh no, one SCV! One SCV does come in, 2 SCVs go down. But only 2 SCVs because these roaches, they run into a brick wall, they run into a tank in the Banshees, and every single roach goes down. Spirit completely shuts down this push. And now he can go back to mining. He can happily go back to saturating his natural. Did lose some mining time, but for killing 7 roaches, well, worth it in the end. I mean, he could have saved even 1 extra SCV, but outside of that, it's fine. Hellions dip in. They confirm additional roaches in production. He also sees the lack of saturation. Big scout here for Spirit. He confirms the lack of drones at the 3rd base, so now he knows 100% it's a 2-base all-in. He knows to prepare. He's still landing his 3rd base. Bold move. Very bold move here by Spirit. But regardless, like, he should be preparing defensively. Should be working on tanks. More Banshees. Oh. As Silky has taken all 4 gases. He has roach speed on the way, but it is 2-base Muta. And he is droning. The Hellions are going to go back in. They confirm still no drones. Still the lack of saturation. And he could read this as a 2-base all-in. I'm reading it that way as well. But Silky is now droning. We see a scan in the natural, and we get eyes on the Spire. Spirit, he's playing so safe. Just constantly rescouting, constantly scanning, checking with it. Once again, he checks with the Hellions. He confirms there are now drones, which means suddenly Silky is trying to macro out of this, and Spirit knows it. You know, he's playing. It's like he's playing with MaxPax, but he's just checking with everything he can. Just very attentive to detail here by Spirit. As again, he just sees all, knows all, and is preparing as well. Working his bio army, is going for a drop across the map. Should be seeing some turrets thrown down momentarily. We may even see a second scan at the natural to see if Silky cancelled. We can see that he hasn't cancelled the Spire at all. But it may be wise for Spirit to rescout, whether it's with a scan or even this drop, just to make sure that Silky doesn't, bamboozle him. Divert his attention, catch him off guard. But now the Marines, they dive into the main base. Gonna disrupt the economy. They don't get too many worker kills, but they do get a queen. Oh, as that medevac takes a lot of hits. Now, I believe the Spire did complete, but as we can see, Silky isn't making any mutas because he knows he got scouted. He knows that the likelihood of mutas actually getting damage done is pretty low. So he's focusing on Lingbane Roach. I was going to say Lingbane Roach Ravager, but should be Lingbane Roach. There we go. 4 mutas are in production. 5 mutas now. Now, 5 mutas, fun fact, that is enough to one-shot an SCV. That is enough to one-shot. As long as we preserve the muta count, it should be enough to harass and actually pose a threat to the mineral lines of Spirit. That is the bare minimum that you would want. As we do see Spirit catching some of these roaches, and even though the muta harassing force is coming out, Spirit, his push, I don't know if Silky can defend against this. Silky has been taking a lot of losses here throughout this game. The Banelings, they get caught out! No! The Banelings, before they can finish morphing in! Oh, 3, 4 of them, 5 of them go down. There are barely any Banelings remaining. Good target firing there as well. Good spread, good split. As Spirit is just snowballing out of control. The Lings fall, the mutas, they cannot engage with this army, not with this many Marines. And this hatchery is going to be going down, and I don't think Silky has much left to really keep up with Spirit. Silky has to back off, regroup with his Lings, regroup with his mutas. Banshee going to be harassing on the right-hand side. We have 4 more Banelings in production. That's all we can afford. Again, mutas are expensive. They are gas-intensive. And for every muta that we make, that's just less banelings to defend. The mutas, they try to dive in, but there are just so many Marines. They avoid the banelings, GG gets called, and Spirit will take game number 1. Gee. And we get a very Spirit reaction as well. Unfazed. Oh my god, does he know it's a best of 2? Spirit, he's left us. He's like, okay, I'm done, right? I got places to be, you know. Come back, Bobby, come back. GG, Spirit will take game 1, and we're getting ready for game number 2. It's going to be Silky's map of choice. It is going to be his map pick here for the second game. But again, Spirit is a heavy hitter. He is one of the best Terrans that Europe has to offer. Silky, he can punch up. He's a very quirky player. As we saw, he's willing to mix up and break the mold and go for like these weird 14 hatch into 2-base roach into 2-base muta play. Silky, he's, you know, crazy like that. But as we saw, Spirit, he is just so attentive when it comes to scouting. He's aware, clearly, of the kind of player that Silky is. Like, coming into this series, I'm like, okay, Silky's going to do something crazy. Oh, he's back. I'm like, Silky's, he's going to do something crazy. He's going to do something out of the norm. And Spirit is aware of that. That's why he was so attentive to what Silky was up to. And yeah, really well done. Really good scouting, really good reactions, really solid play out of Spirit, keeping up with everything that Silky was trying to throw at him. But now it's Silky's map choice, and this is where the Starving Camels thrive. We saw the Starving Camels, Silky included. It was Silky alongside Firefly, alongside, I believe, Cyan, the team of the Camels. They were able to come together and prepare so well for these Team League matches. And even if they would lose game 1, when it came to game 2, they would come in hyper prepared with a map, with a build. And often they would be underestimated. Often they would be underestimated by their opponents. And they'd be able to catch them unawares. I don't know if Spirit is one to do that, though. Like, again, Spirit, he is just so solid. And here's our map of choice. Oh. For a moment, it was Royal Blood, but no, it is going to be Golden Aura. Let's go. One of the new maps in the map pool. It's amazing. It's beautiful. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner for the Starving Camels for Team SSLT, we have Silky. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Polish Terran player representing PSISTORM Gaming, Spirit. Oh, here we go. I'm catching up with the chat. No headband, bad sign. True. If you remember Silky in the previous season, he did at times rock a headband, and that's when you know that he was serious. That's when you know that he was, you know, unlocking his final form and going all out. But here, Silky, oh, okay, going for a much more standard hatch gas pool opener as opposed to the previous game, which was far more, in a way, greedy, and he was attempting to cut corners. Things looking a little more normal here from our Zerg player. But I do miss his headband. It was a good look. It was a good look. Very Karate Kid. It was beautiful. Unfortunately, hasn't whipped it out yet. Maybe in the ace match if we go that far. Maybe that's when Silky does come out with it. Till then, though, going to be a Rax Expand out of Spirit. Going for his SCV scout, going to be confirming the timing of the hatchery, confirming the gases, making sure that everything is on the up and up here from his opponent as Reaper is making its way across the map. Now we can talk about Golden Aura a little bit. Now I'm curious as to why this map was chosen, especially because we didn't open up castles. This map is very defensible. The bases are really tight knit. They're really close together. A lot of choke points coming into these bases as well. So because of that, I would say that it favors more turtle heavy play from the Terran and the Protoss, less so from the Zerg. So I'm very curious as to how or what Silky has in store, what he has in mind for this map. We could even be seeing 2-base play. 2-base muta? I wonder. Meanwhile, back at home, Spirit just working on his factory, working on his natural base. Third base is taken at a reasonable time, so Silky is not going to be going for 2-base play. as he's just happily droning. Silky pulled out a gas as well. Very important to point that out because Silky has been known to rush into lair, so no gases are being taken. So far, very standard play. Silky. It's crazy. He's playing normal. Is he okay? Is everything okay, Buck? Aye. I mean, it is possible that, especially after game 1, after Silky tried everything he could, right? He tried Roach Rush into 2-base Muta. After it failing, maybe Silky, he's kind of going to divert his attention to a much more standard, longer macro game instead against his opponent. He could be just having that approach instead. As for now, we have a wave of Lings on the way for Silky. Going to be cutting workers here at 36 for now. But I'm pretty sure these Lings are only to deal with these Hellions in case they try to dive into a mineral line. As, yep, Silky is droning. He's going back into droning. Saturating now his third base. Hellions attempted to dive in, but again, Silky's able to keep up with him. He's keeping up with Spirits. Behind the Spirit, getting into a 1-1-1, going for a Banshee opener. Okay, interesting choice. So the previous game, Spirits went for a 3cc into Banshee. This time, it's going to be a 1-1-1 into a 3rd CC. So there's going to be a lot more pressure on Spirit to do damage. Spirit, his third base is quite delayed. Heavily delayed, actually, to allow for this Banshee play. It is very safe, don't get me wrong, but it is going to set Spirit behind economically. But here we go. We have Hellions from the left. We have Banshees from the right. We're looking for some damage. And the Banshee does dip into the main base. Gets one drone. Gets a second. Not bad. And is looking for a third drone here at the natural as well. Gets a fourth for one Banshee. Barely any hull damage. Really nicely done here by Spirit. Enough to justify a late 3rd CC? Not yet. We haven't quite gotten there yet, but we're working on it. We're working on it. As the Hellions continue to poke in. Behind this, Spirit working on his double E-bays. 1-1. Additional Raxes. No mech, thank God. No mech at all. Going for a more marine heavy style. As that first Banshee is now joined by a second Banshee. As once again we focus on the gas mining workers. 3 drones go down. 4th, 5th even. Oh god, 6th even. 7, 8 drones. Stop us, calm down. 8 workers in total, and that one Banshee barely escapes. 1 shot away from going down, but it does manage to get away. 8 workers in addition to the 4 that we had earlier. 12 from these Banshees. Really good amount of damage, and this does make up for the delayed 3rd base, as the 3rd is now being taken by Spirit. Really nicely done. As the Banshees turn around, they come back home to defend. And now Spirit, he finds himself in a pretty good position. Silky does have a worker lead, but he should have a worker lead as... Oh my. Once again, 2 games in a row. Silky going for mutas. This time he has a better economy. This time he actually has 3 base economy here with 72 workers. Is trying to get into Ling, Bane, Muta, but before the mutas can hit the field, Spirit has arrived. He's arrived with 2 tanks, Hellions, Marines, soon to be Hellbats, as well as the armory is still on the way, to be fair, so no Hellbats yet. Lings are coming in from behind, but the Marines, they do support the tanks. They do take down the Lings. A good target firing as well, and every single Baneling goes down. Very nicely done here by Spirits. And can he snowball out of control? Can he take down these Queens? It looks like he cannot. As Lings come in to reinforce, and Silky holds. Silky does hold on. Whew. That was a pretty committed attack. Very committed here from Spirit. He traded well against the Lings, but he still lost his tanks, and that means that Silky has survived, and he will get away with his Spire. 2-2 on the way for Silky. Baneling speed as well. 4 mutas are in production. And again, the Spire so far, unscouted. unscouted by Spirit. As he's going to be sending a second wave across the map. A second army. This time with Hellbats, as the armory is now done. As he moves out, Ling counterattack rolls in. Oh, but we do have reinforcements. Quick lift on that wall as well. It looks like Silky will be able to get at least one depot. It's something. It's something. And Spirit is not going for a three-way soul in. 4th CC is on the way. Additional gases are being taken. Spirit is looking for a longer game. But he is maintaining this position. Pushing forward with his Marines, with his tanks. Catches a Queen. Ooh, and Silky was not ready for this. Uh-oh. Silky was not in position. The drones, they're trapped. They can't get out. And just like that, 22 workers go down. The mutas reveal themselves good target firing as the one muta does get targeted down. Ay. And Silky, everything was looking fine, but suddenly things have gone from bad to worse. Even if Silky cleans up this army, the damage has been done. Silky losing more than just a mineral line, losing mutas, forced to reveal the mutas. The Banshees are going ham on this 4th base, on the 5th base even. And in the blink of an eye, Spirit, he's just almost won the game at this point. He takes down the 3rd. He's whittling away at the 5th, getting 3 more workers. And Spirit is not done. Nowhere near. Got more tanks on the way. Silky does have a decent army. Oh, but again, he's up against the wall right now. He needs to do some kind of counter damage. As he's attempting to go for a run by. Setting up here towards the north. Meanwhile, Spirit, he gets his win. He takes his win and he rotates around. Just securing his position. Rotating over, does catch these Lings. We do have a decent muta count, so they're going to be able to deny Concussive Shell. Not the most important upgrade to deny, but it's something. Meanwhile, there's barely any creep here on the right-hand side. The Lings, the Banelings are on the way. The Lings are being caught out. Not like this. As we do set up a surround. The tanks that were unsieged. Tanks were caught on siege, but the Banelings go down. 1 tank survives, and 1 tank is all that Spirit needs. Honestly, he doesn't even need the tank. GG gets called, and Spirit will take the series 2-0. And now he can turn off his cam. Now he can leave us. GG, well played. Spirit will... And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. We just wrapped up with our first best of 2, which was Spirit versus Silky, and now we have returned with our second of this series with Cyan versus MaxPax. MaxPax with a 777 ELO rating. Pretty damn high, pretty damn good. Very fitting because he is, of course, the ace player of PSISTORM, and he did very well for himself. Did very well for himself in the previous season of WTL, but at the time, he was a lone wolf in a way. Like, the rest of his teammates were kind of struggling to support him. And it wasn't until Spirit was picked up where PSISTORM suddenly had a fighting chance at making it to the playoffs. But by that point, it was a little bit too late. And their scores just was not good enough. But now that we're starting the season here with both Spirit and MaxPax, some big names here for PSISTORM, they have a good chance at having a deep run in this tournament. And here we go in the top left-hand corner of Gressvan. For the Starving Camels, we have Cyan. And spawning in the bottom right, we have his opponents for PSISTORM Gaming, the Danish Protoss player. It is MaxPax. The PvP is upon us, and I love that. Cyan's crazy. Oh my god. Mate. Okay. So, a couple of things about PvP. First, in PvPs, on a map like this where there's no ramp coming into the natural, typically, Protoss players have a consensus, and that is 2 gate openers on the high ground. 2 gates on the high ground because it is considered not to be safe to go for a low ground expansion. A gate expand is considered unsafe on a map like Gressvan, but MaxPax is different. MaxPax is so good at defending and so confident that regardless of the map, he will go for gate expands on the low ground. He is the only player that does this consistently, And everyone knows this. And everyone knows that you can't all-in him either because it just will not work. And Cyan, upon knowing this, he meets MaxPax right head-to-head with that greed and goes for a gate expand as well. On Gresvan. Crazy. Crazy. Now, MaxPax does go for a double gas opener. Likewise, so does Cyan. So MaxPax is going to be going for a Stargate first. Cyan should also be throwing down the Stargate as well. Momentarily, he has the gas for it. Otherwise, he is going to be taking a late expansion. And there it is. Stargate gets thrown down. Now, both players have scattered each other. We have entered a really awkward position here in PvP. Both opened up gate expand, but they went Stargate first. They know it. This is the beginning of Phoenix Wars. Wait. Cyan. He canceled. He canceled the Stargate. He throws down the gateway. He's going all in. Okay. So, based on what MaxPax has seen, he should go for a Phoenix. No, okay, he's going Oracle for. He's crazy. Okay, he's going Oracle first. Meanwhile, Cyan is setting up for one base all in. He cancels the Stargate. MaxPax, he scouts. He will confirm the Wardloff at least at the natural, but doesn't see much else. He throws down a shield battery. He may have spotted the lack of expansion. We'll see if MaxPax starts up a Void Ray after this Oracle, as he will need a Void Ray to defend. One way or another, the game will end. Cyan has a proxy across the map. It's going to be a 4-gate, 1-base all-in out of Cyan. Stalkers have arrived. The Oracle is going across the map. It's not staying at home to defend. Uh-oh. And we'll see if it's going to be enough. Void Ray does commence. Again, the Void Ray is very key here to hold on for MaxPax to defend against this all-in. One Stalker goes down. Good defense so far. And MaxPax, he gets across the map with that Oracle. And what is there at home to defend for Cyan? Oh, we have a shield battery. Solid. Yeah, with the shield battery, we get only 3 probes. That's not too bad. 3 workers go down. But Cyan does hold. Meanwhile, across the map, his Stalker count is snowballing out of control. He will take down an Adept. The Void Ray does arrive, taking some big hits. The overcharge is popped. Cyan doesn't lose any Stalkers. Very important to take note of. He's preserving his Stalker count. It's getting higher and higher. He's waiting for the overcharge to finish up, and then he can dive on that Void Ray. Here we go. He waits for another warp in. He's coming back in. Oh! Hoping for the Void Ray to overextend. He wants it, Papi. He wants it. He's going to be focusing down that Stargate. Stargate's getting pretty low, but a second Void Ray arrives. With 2 Void Rays, I don't know if Cyan can pull this off. Stalker goes down. There's just so much DPS available here. Another Stalker falls. Cyan, he's bleeding out too many units. Something that he just cannot afford, not when he's all in like this. As we have another activation of the Prismatic Alignment. Yeah, 2 more Stalkers go down, and it looks like MaxPax has held. As Cyan is down to, what, 6 Stalkers. You can see here he's lost 7 Stalkers throughout this all-in. Only getting 1 Stalker of MaxPax. Now we're up to 3 Void Rays. GG gets called, and MaxPax will defend and take game number 1. GG. Cyan falling for a bit of a trap. Kind of. I did appreciate that Cyan started off with a gate expand setup into a Stargate follow-up. I think I love that. I didn't really like that we transitioned into an all-in. I mentioned before, there's a reason why MaxPax goes for gate expands on any map, even on maps where it is deemed unsafe, because he is so damn good at defending. He is so good at scouting, recognizing what the Protoss is up to, and preparing back at home with Void Rays, with shield batteries. Yeah, he's just so ready for that. He's so well practiced in that. So it feels like Cyan played into MaxPax's hands a little bit. I say a little bit because initially Cyan was faking out an economic opener, which I loved. Again, I loved the start, but the fact that we still went for an all-in, like, it's like, no. it's what MaxPax, he likes it, Puppy. He likes it when he gets all in. So in the end, MaxPax will take game 1, and Cyan is going to have to go back to the drawing board here for game number 2, as he's going to have to deliberate what map he wants to play it out on. Where will we go? Where will we go? Oh, okay, as it is going to be one of the older maps. It is going to be Altitude. Okay. Altitude is on the way here. A very large map in the map pool. Because it's so large, we can go for some proxy play that can work on a map like Altitude. Otherwise, Gate Expand should be the way to go. And if we do end up in a Gate Expand scenario, we could finally find ourselves in Phoenix v Phoenix. Phoenix versus Phoenix could be on the way here on Altitude. We'll see. Honestly, it's up to Cyan. I feel like MaxPax, he's a very reactive player in PvP, and it's gonna be on Cyan to either go for a macro game or go all in again. And here we go. In the bottom left-hand corner, we have for the Starving Camels for SSLT. It is Cyan. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Danish Protoss player for PSISTORM Gaming. It is MaxPax. And there it is. Cyan is setting up for a Gate Expand, but Altitude, this is standard. Because there's a ramp coming into the natural, it is very standard to go for Gate Expands on this map. I'll keep an eye on the gas count. If we take additional gases early on, then we can go into a Stargate opener, which, again, if both players do go in that direction, we can end up in those Phoenix Wars. As both players are sending their probes across the map, we're going for a bit of a scout. Trying to get a read on what is going on and where we are. Shout out to WTL and our lovely sponsors. Big shout out. Autofill, electric car company. Cyan is going to be throwing down those additional gases, which does mean that Cyan has the ability to go into a Stargate before Nexus. Meanwhile, MaxPax also working on his second gas geyser as well. Okay, so again, they can tech up before their expansions, as they're just trying to keep an eye on each other, trying to keep tabs on the other. Zealots are on the way as well. Again, because of these probes, both players are going to be trying to delay their expansions by throwing down pylons, by maybe even throwing down the cyber core as well, alongside said pylon. Which is why I'm saying that I feel like we should be seeing Stargates soon as those cyber cores finish. And there it is. Cyan throws down his Stargate in the main. Meanwhile, MaxPax throws down his Stargate in the natural. Again, because the gases were taken, this is kind of the direction that we were heading in. MaxPax, he is going to be able to slip by this Zealot. He slips into the main, and he should get eyes on the Stargate of his opponent. Let's see if he does. Yeah, he does end up getting behind that mineral line. So, because both players are opening up Stargate, and they know that, we should be going into Phoenixes. We should be heading into Phoenix Wars. We'll see if one player decides to try to risk it and go Oracle instead. Again, it's a really risky thing to do, because if you go Oracle and if your opponent goes Phoenix, then your Oracle is going to die. And there it is. Cyan is going Oracle. Meanwhile, MaxPax is going Phoenix. So, on the one hand, this means that it won't be Phoenix Wars. On the other hand, I worry for Cyan, because Cyan, he's investing in something that's very high risk, high reward. MaxPax is going to have anti-air to shut down that Oracle, and if it doesn't get economic damage done, if the Oracle doesn't kill probes, then it's not going to be worth it. As Udep shades in, and MaxPax, he sees the Oracle on the way. Oof. It's going to be Oracle into Phoenix. This is brutal. The reason why I say this is because with this Phoenix follow-up, MaxPax, he has a Phoenix lead. He just straight up does. But actually, he cancels. Okay. Interesting. Cyan, he cancels the Phoenix, and he's going for a Twilight Council. He's going to try and go Blink Stalker. And the Oracle stays at home. The Oracle has to stay at home. But again, it's the reason why I worry is because Cyan, he invested into tech that isn't doing anything. He invested into a Stargate, into an Oracle, and it's sitting at home gathering dust. Meanwhile, MaxPax, he's investing in Phoenixes, and in a way you could argue, well, what can the Phoenixes do if there's nothing for them to kill, if the Oracle is at home? Well, they can still do economic damage, they can CC Immortals, Stalkers, they have value. The Oracle, less so. But so far, the Oracle is still out there, still alive, still a threat to MaxPax. Phoenixes are moving out. Blink is on the way. The Phoenix count just getting higher and higher, and here we go. MaxPax does get across now. He does walk into or run into a wall of Stalkers. Blink has been scouted, has been confirmed. MaxPax is now aware that his opponent is committing into Blink Stalkers, and MaxPax is going to be commencing Immortal production. Ooh, meanwhile, Oracle gets across the map, gets one probe, but only one worker, as, yeah, the Oracle is going to be hunted down. And MaxPax takes a massive economic lead. And now the pressure is on Cyan. Yeah, I love this proxy. He's 2-base all in. So, MaxPax, because he's down in Stalkers and down with Blink, like there is no Blink for him, he's going to be going Phoenix Immortal. Immortals, they do amazingly against Blink Stalkers, even in low numbers. But Immortal production hasn't commenced. The first Robo is still on the way, and Cyan, he's going to be hitting before MaxPax can make a single Immortal. The question is, does Cyan have enough to kill MaxPax? Here we go. Stalkers, they have arrived against Cyan. He is 2-base all in. He blinks into the natural. He takes down the shield battery. He will take down the Stalkers as well. And MaxPax may just not have enough. He comes in with his Phoenixes. But even then, can he deal with so many of these Stalkers? So far, yes. So far he can. He's only lost 3 workers. Pylons are falling. The Immortal has arrived. But a bit of an Aratosis pylon is going to be targeted down. The Phoenixes, they do come in. They do pick up a couple of these Stalkers. 2 Stalkers, 3 Stalkers go down. That Immortal going ham. But the Immortal eventually gets targeted down. MaxPax. Oh my god, he's running out of energy. He has plenty of Phoenixes, but he can't do anything. He can't lift up. He doesn't have the energy for it. But he does rebuild that pylon. Shield battery is done. Overcharge soon to be available, and another Immortal arrives. And MaxPax is holding. He has the high ground. These Stalkers are very low. And again, Cyan doesn't have the best economy to support this, because he lost so many probes earlier. Cyan still all in. MaxPax just waiting for Cyan to overextend. Well, the Cybercore is looking vulnerable. Cybercore is going to go down. Good pickoff. MaxPax, he has to rebuild. Second Immortal's about to pop out, and here we go. MaxPax, he just dives on forward, taking down Stalker after Stalker. That Immortal still going ham here on the ground as well. And Cyan is being bullied back. Now with 2 Immortals, no shot. He's going for it. He's trying to. Yeah, and now MaxPax knows. Now that he has 2 Immortals, he knows that he actually doesn't need the Phoenixes back at home. He doesn't need the Phoenixes defensively. He has more than enough to contest against this army, and that means he can go for some harass. He can pick off workers one after the other. If he had more energy, at least. He needs more energy, Papi. As now we're up to 3 Immortals. MaxPax just keeping the economy low. He does get eyes on the third base. Phoenixes can't quite do anything about it. They're just sharking around, catching another probe. And MaxPax is just getting further and further ahead. A Dark Shrine is thrown down, but I believe it's been scouted. Yeah, we already have an observer anyway. Like, we have detection. MaxPax is ready for it. And again, Cyan, he almost broke him. He almost broke MaxPax when he dove into the natural. You know, that first push was his strongest. But alas, MaxPax was able to get into his first Immortal. Able to come back home in time with his Phoenixes. For the boys. And he shuts down the proxy. And MaxPax, he's just waiting for his Prism. He has Blink on the way, Prism, and +1. And once they line up, once they kick in, then MaxPax can move out. There we go. He's already moving out. At this point, it's going to be a numbers game. MaxPax, he just has a superior army to his opponent. 3 Immortals, all those Phoenixes for almost said SimCity, for crowd control. Oh, here we go. We do dive onto one of those Immortals. One goes down, so will the second and the third. Good target firing coming in from Cyan. is going to be able to force back his opponent, but we have a DT cannon. Oh my god, the DT's here from MaxPax. They're slipping in, and oh, we don't have detection. There's no Robo, there's no Oracle. There is 0 detection available here. GG gets called. The DT's the Invisible Man wins the game as MaxPax takes the 2-0 over Cyan. GG. GG, well played. Again, no Oracle, no Observer, no Robo, no Forge, no Cannons. No way to deal with the Dark Templar. Congratulations to MaxPax and congratulations to PSISTORM Gaming as they will take the series 4-0 over the Starving Camels. But we will still play out the last series. TooDming versus Gerald will still be played out. It is still necessary for overall standings, for map score, for head-to-head, all that good stuff. This is important, this is impactful, and we have seen it come into play when it comes to determining which players make it into the playoffs and which teams make it into the playoffs and which teams don't. So TooDming versus Gerald will still go on. Meanwhile, we're going to be going on a break. We're going to be going on a short break. When we return, we'll have a ZVP for you. See you soon. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to our final best of 2 of the night, our final series of the night, because we have confirmation that PSISTORM Gaming have won this Team League match. Already a 4-0 in the books, but is it going to be a 4-0, a 6-0, a 4-2 even? TooDming has a chance here to fight back. Oh no! As it looks like the kitchen is on fire, Gerald's racing out to the room and make sure he deals with the chaos ensuing in the kitchen. So we'll get him back. It's okay. We'll get him back. As we are going to be getting into TooDming versus Gerald. Again, TooDming, he does have a chance here to fight back for his team, to put some points on the board. And TooDming, he has caused upsets in the past. In general, I would favor Gerald, even... It's kind of weird. Even though the ELO here is in favor of TooDming, as their WTL, I would say that Geralt is the favorite player nonetheless. Oh, as he does right back. I would say that he is a little bit more in form. So in a solid game, in a straight up game, I would favor Geralt. But TooDming is anything but standard. TooDming is known for whipping out these weird, quirky all-ins at times and these cheeses. And Neo Humanity is a good map for it. Oh boy, here we go. We have seen it in the past, and I'm ready to see it again. TooDming, I believe in the past he has gone for some Ling drop all-ins. We've been seeing him try to mine out the minerals on that natural base as well to flood Lings in from behind and all in that way. I wonder if he does bring that out here, as in the bottom right-hand corner of Neo Humanity for the Starving Camels SSLT, it is TooDming. And spawning in the top left, we have his opponent. We have the Polish Protoss player for PSISTORM Gaming. It is Gerald. Or Gerald. Oh. See the chat. That room is bigger than my house. It's a big room. It's to be fair, it is the attic from my understanding. Like Geralt, he does live in the attic of a house, but it's like the entire upper roof. So it's a big room, Bobby. It's the size of the size of the house, I guess, technically, like the service area of the house. Damn. But hopefully, if there were any issues, it has been resolved. We're getting into our first game of this best of 2. Oh, as the probe does come in for a bit of a scout, confirming the hatch gas pool opener. Very important, to be honest, that Gerald gets confirmation of this, because I mentioned earlier that we have seen TooDming go for these offbeat all-ins on Neo Humanity, and he can be a very tricky player. So scouting is going to be paramount for Gerald, as he's getting into a gate expand. Gate expand into a cybercore. A very greedy economic opener here from Gerald, as he's going to be tasing away at those drones, just being as annoying as possible. Nothing too major. He shouldn't get a drone kill. He also shouldn't lose the probe either, as he does need to get out of here momentarily. If you lived in the attic in Perth, you'd be cooked alive. You'd be cooked, Bappy. True, true. Heat does rise. We I don't think we actually have attics in Australia. I could be mistaken, but when I think of an attic, I think more of like a, I don't know, maybe an American thing. We've had this discussion before about basements. Basements are not a thing in Australia, and they are a thing in other parts of the world. I would say the same about attics. I've never heard of anyone here having an attic before. Like having a space above your house where you can move around and like you have like a ladder to go into. Like that's crazy. It's not really a thing, from my understanding. But yeah, from here we are getting into things. Yeah. We don't have insulation or ceilings, but that's also because if we had insulation, we would also die. We would. Like for the majority of my life, I didn't have aircon, and not having air conditioning here in Australia, like you have to rely on like your fans and like, you know, ice to survive the summers. Otherwise, it would not it would not end well. Gerald is going to be the player to mix things up. Okay, so we have a Twilight Council opener out of our Protoss player, and it is not for Glaives. It is for a Dark Shrine instead. Dark Shrine is on the way. Meanwhile, we do have Adept slipping into the main base. Lings do get on top of them. One of them is going to be going down. A bit of a missed recall. Ooh, and Gerald did shake his head on cams there. Was a bit of a misstep, a bit of a mistake. See in the chat, is it still played on the old patch? No, it is the new patch. New patch here for all of WTL so far. For the past 3 days, all the games have been on the new patch. Apart from games that had to be played from replays. Like games played beforehand. Meanwhile, with this DT opener, we have the Prism on the way. Dark Shrine, DTs that will be coming out momentarily. And so far, this is unscouted. Gerald has no idea what's going on. He does have a Ling here to scout. It does get eyes on the would-be third. Roach Warren is on the way, but do we have any Spore Crawlers? That is the question. TooDming going into a fast lair. There we go. Spores are now on the way. There's one Spore at the third base location. But I believe the main and the natural are a little bit more exposed. As there we go, the DTs have been confirmed. The first one going to be waddling into that third base. We can get on top of the Spore. Oh, not quite. We go for the Queens instead. One Queen will go down, but only a single Queen. As, yeah, there's a Spore in the main. TooDming is ready for this. He will shut this down. So far, very nicely done by TooDming. He doesn't take any damage. Oh, I mean, he loses the Queen, but outside of losing a Queen, doesn't take any additional damage. And Gerald is backing off. He's going for a Robotics Bay instead, getting into, I imagine, a Disruptor drop. Could be into Colossus, but imagine Disruptors. Meanwhile, Archons are being morphed in here to try to get some more value, trade a little bit better here against the Lings, against the Queens, against potentially even drones. But TooDming, he's, again, looking pretty good so far. He's droning up, saturating his bases. I was talking a lot about how TooDming can be a very aggressive and very cheesy player. But here he's been straight up, and it's been Gerald who's been out of the norm. Lings looking for a big counterattack. They get it on top of the third base. Shield battery's going to go down. The units as well. And Gerald may just lose the third entirely. The Archons, they get across. Oh, the drones! The Archons get across them. The drones, they're stuck here in the main. 10, 11 drones go down. Ay. And the Archons will recall back home. With this recall, the Nexus itself will be saved. But we trade blow for blow. Both players lose 11 workers. Oh boy. But at least Gerald does hold on to his third. If it wasn't for the recall, then that would have been a kill on the Nexus. Regardless, we do have a full-on push. Roaches are moving out. Roach speed on the way as TooDming is attempting to re-drone and resaturate his bases. Likewise, Disruptors are in production, and there's more Prism speed. Because the initial DT opener didn't do enough damage, this is why Gerald is rushing into Disruptors. It's a risky move, and it's another big investment, but the onus is on Gerald to do some equalizing damage, and the Disruptor will help with that. Speaking of, Nova's going to be going off defensively. Does reveal itself to the army of TooDming. Nova gets wasted, and the Roaches are pushing on forward. This Stalker is going to go down. Oh, and Gerald is in a lot of trouble. He's losing quite a bit here to this push. Yeah, the Lings, they do bust into the natural base. Second Stalker falls. And this is just forcing a big delay here for Gerald. Gerald, he wanted to get across the map. He wanted to go for some drop play. But he's stuck at home defending against these Lings. 11 more probes go down. Oof. And TooDming is in the driver's seat. He's double expanding. He's taking his 4th and his 5th base at the same time. Getting into Baneling speed, +1 melee, solid Roach army as well. He's triple expanding, getting his 4th, 5th, and 6th. Because why the hell not? Meanwhile, Geralt, we're going to make some magic happen. We're going to make some magic happen here with this drop play. Here we go. The disruptors have arrived. Novas go off. Decent Nova here on 3 of those workers. Oh! Get another 2 drones, 5 in total. Not bad, not bad, considering we didn't lose anything. So a decent start for Geralt. As he is being forced back. And TooDming, he's droned up to 71. And he's making nothing but army. We have 32 Lings in production. No Banelings yet, as Baneling speed is still finishing up. Meanwhile, Geralt is not going to be resting on his laurels. He does knock down those towers. And he is being active. He's going to be pushing onto creep. That's a lot of Banelings on the way. That is potentially a lot of damage to be dealt by these Novas. Ooh, good. Oh my god, the splits! Not a single unit goes down to the Nova. Oh, TooDming. My god. As a couple more Novas go up, and they will connect with that mineral line. Another 5 drones, 10 in total. But this also means that those disruptors won't be available defensively back at home. And TooDming is committing to its attack. And Nova goes off. Big connection on the Ravagers. But that's a lot of Banelings rolling in. Potentially too many Banelings as they crash into the Archons. They crash into the Stalkers. The Nexus falls to the Banelings. But there are some pretty good blinks coming in from Gerald. He does force the army back, but he loses the base. He's down to a 2-base economy. Meanwhile, TooDming is on 6. But the Disruptors survived. The Disruptors did make it through. But there's just so many Lings. And without Archons, these Lings, they go ham on these Stalkers. Novas are going to be going off. Decent Novas, but they have too many Stalkers are falling. And TooDming maybe just be snowballing out of control. We do have defensive DTs. Unironically, those DTs, they did well. No detection was available. They are being morphed into Archons. The Disruptors still survived. I feel like we need them at home. As Geralt takes a risk and he goes for another counterattack. Once again, going for the mineral line. Gets 1 drone. Ugh, just 1. Not quite worth it. And again, that means we don't have the Disruptors back at home to defend. A decent connection on the Banelings, but it looks like TooDming has too much. He's breaking the defenses here at the 3rd base. Disruptor goes down. Once again, pushing onto that Nexus. Decent Novas. He gets a Roach and a Ravager, but it looks like, again, there's just too much army on the ground from TooDming. The Lings are snowballing out of control. He's getting more Stalkers, getting more probes. And the base is being broken. TooDming is fighting back for his team. He is fighting back for the Starving Camels. As he has broken this 3rd. 30 probes go down. 30 workers. My god. So many probes. And these DTs will eventually clean this up. There is no detection. But again, it's just far too much at this point. Overseers are arriving. TooDming just consolidating his army, building himself up for another push. As he does take down, or he does go toe-to-toe with this army. Never goes up. Oh, big connection on the Lings. Ravagers are being targeted down. TooDming bleeding out too much. He has to back off. He has to take advantage of his economy and settle down. Rebuild his Roaches, his Ravagers. Now, this is giving time for Geralt to reestablish his 3rd. but it's okay. Like, there shouldn't really be any pressure on TooDming to break the third. At this point, denying the fourth is more than enough. As Gerald is trying to harass across the map, he does send out a DT. No workers to kill, unfortunately. Yeah, as the Dark Templar does get caught out. Lossire on the way. And TooDming is about to max out. And yeah, with the completion of these Banelings and Ravagers, once again, TooDming is going to be looking to break that third base. And even if the Colossus survive, even if we preserve a couple of these units, what matters is the base. So once again, Nova going off, only getting a handful of Lings. TooDming bringing everything together. Big Nova on the Banelings. But TooDming is maxed out, and there's just too much Zerg. The Swarm has arrived. That overcharge putting in a lot of work. And Gerald is holding. Despite having sub 100 supply, he holds on. He's not really living, but he's surviving. Again, a really good trade from Gerald, and he has to do that maybe like another 2 or 3 times. If he can somehow withstand these pushes, then he can get back into this game. As TooDming once again remaxes. You have an Infestation on the way. Oh, Gerald is taking a 4th. And upon taking this 4th base, he's going to be splitting up his army. He's going to be spread a little bit thin. Once again, a good split from TooDming. Banelings rolling in once again. We do have a wave of Archons. Nova goes off. Decent connections, but Banelings get into the mineral line. We're getting on top of the Disruptors as well. And it looks like finally TooDming has gotten on top of the army. Even though the Colossus is surviving, everything else is falling. And again, TooDming fighting back for his team. The rest of his teammates may have struggled earlier against Spirit and against MaxPax, but here, TooDming, he takes game 1 against Gerald. GG. Again, it's a little bit bittersweet where, you know, his team has still lost, but TooDming, he's fighting back, and he could even pull off a 2-0. It is possible. It is possible, as he does take game 1. And now we're getting into game number 2. It is going to be Gerald's map pick. Gerald, on PSISTORM Gaming, so will go for it. As the map has been chosen and the lobby is being prepared. Likewise, TooDming also getting ready. Really solid play out of him. I was really impressed. I was very impressed with TooDming. Splitting against the Disruptors, preparing against the DTs, macroing and getting up to, what, 5 base saturation. But here we go. In the top left-hand corner, on Babylon, we have for the Starving Camels, SSLT, it is TooDming. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Polish Protoss player representing PSISTORM Gaming. It is Gerald. Here we go. Again, I'm very curious to see how Gerald approaches this game. I'm getting a feeling for a Twilight Council, but I would not be opposed for a Stargate opener. Would not be opposed to that at all. As TooDming is forced to take the unnatural natural. Probe is in position to block, to deny. TooDming, he will have to expand elsewhere as a result. He is forced to take another base. And yeah, and with that, the early game is going to be a little bit more awkward. Not impossible, not by any means, just a little bit more uncomfortable here for TooDming. This is a reason as to why a lot of Zerg players have adopted either a 14 or a 15 hatch opener in this matchup, just so they can make sure they can get their natural up and running. This does make it a little bit easier to defend against Oracles and Adepts in the early game. And because of that, again, you know, this could be a setup for a Twilight Council opener from Gerald. We'll see. As again, just Hatchcats full from TooDming. Nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy. getting into a standard opener overall. Likewise, Gerald going for his gate expand into a cyber core. Was a Nexus before core from Gerald. It's just a little bit more economic, a little bit more greedy for my Protoss. As this probe is being quite a nuisance. So far doing a great job at disrupting the mining before finally getting the hell out of there. Making sure it doesn't get hunted down by those lings. Now the positioning of this pylon is a little bit further out, closer to the edge of the main, which does coincide with a Stargate opener. We'll see where the tech is thrown down, and there it is. Stargate is thrown down for Gerald. Again, if it were to be something like a Twilight Council, typically the pylon is thrown down behind the mineral line or closer to, you know, the bases of the Protoss, just to make it that much more difficult to be scouted. Because the because the pylon was thrown down a little bit closer, because the Stargate is closer, that means the Oracle gets across the map that much faster. It's only a couple of seconds, but every second counts. Every second does count in StarCraft. As TooDming is just setting up back at home. You know, we've got Lings, Queen's getting in position. The Adept rocks up a good Evo wall here from our Zerg player. Does deny the Adept. Again, really quick moves out of TooDming. I've been really impressed. It's been surprising me. As it is going to be the Oracle first from Gerald. Adept threading a shade into the main. Does commit to the shade, actually. And we'll get a drone. Who is looking for it. Does get a second drone as well. Bit of miscontrol there from TooDming. Turning the wrong worker into a spore. 3 drones already for 1 Adept. Really good trade here for Gerald. And a bit of a slip up from TooDming. I was praising him earlier for his early game defense, but did crumble a little bit here against the Adepts in the end. As Gerald is going to be committing, he does start with 1 Oracle. We have a second Oracle on the way, and we can be going into 3 Oracles. Meanwhile, TooDming does have a lot of Lings on the map. He was forced to make them earlier. Oh, as more drones are falling. Oh, this Oracle getting quite a lot done. 3, 4 drones go down. The Oracle does take a lot of hull damage, but it survives. At the same time, TooDming goes for a big counterattack. He will get on top of one of these Adepts. He can get the second Adept as well. Good catch here from TooDming. He won't be able to get much else, though, as the Oracles make it back home. They will protect the third base, but TooDming, he is doubling down. He's going all in. He's cutting workers at 28. No more drones. He has lost too much, and it's going to be a Ling Queen all in. The Queens are waddling across the map. The Lings are flooding as well, and Gerald now sees this. It was a late scout, but at least he does spot it ahead of time. I do think he has to just give up on this third base. He's going to fight for it, though. Oracles are cleaning up a lot of these Lings. Bit of an overextension from TooDming. Gotta respect the Oracle. And there it is. There's a cancel on the third. Gerald, he knows he cannot hold on to it. He recalls back home to his natural. Gerald is expanding on the left-hand side. Okay. He is taking another base instead, which is going to be spotted. Oh, and TooDming is droning. Ay, ay, ay. This is an awkward position to drone from. The Queens are waddling back home. He's only on 28 workers. He's got a lot of droning to do. I mean, he canceled the third, yes, but that is not enough. Yeah, TooDming, you can see him shake his head as well on cams. It's a rough road to recovery here for TooDming. As so much is delayed. Lair is delayed, Evo Chamber +1, Tech, droning, of course, Queens. At this point, I would say that Gerald is in the driver's seat. And it's on TooDming here to recover, to somehow come back in this game. Gerald just getting eyes on the fourth base, applying some pressure. Chipping away at it. Meanwhile, TooDming, he's just droning as heavily as he can. 11 more workers in production. Meanwhile, Stalkers have arrived, and the hatchery finishes. And we may see a kill on this hatchery. Stasis traps are being thrown down. A clutch transfused on that hatchery just to try to keep it alive. But with all these stalkers, there is no way we can hold on to it. Lings are going down one after the other. Adepts, they commit to the shade. They slip into the natural. Drones are falling left and right. Good positioning as well. The Lings will eventually clean this up, but the hatchery does fall. TooDming being contained at 2-4 bases. Now, thankfully, the Adepts have been cleaned up, which means that these Lings have an easier time engaging with these Stalkers. But yeah, there's just too much. It's too much of a deficit. A failed all-in out of TooDming. GG gets called, and Gerald fights back, puts a point on the board, and it will be a 1-1 score between Gerald and TooDming. GG. GG, well played. Oh, again, I would have loved to have seen a longer game out of these two, but TooDming, he was the one who decided to go for the Ling Queen all-in after losing so many drones. And after it failed, again, it was just, it's difficult to come back from that. It's difficult, especially that early on, when you decide to cut workers. We saw he was down like almost 20 workers compared to Gerald. Like that is such a deficit. And yeah, TooDming, he just wasn't able to recover from that. We saw Gerald just, with that momentum, move out across the map, deny the 4th base, have a great trade, and yeah, snowball out of control. GG, well played. Congratulations to PSISTORM Gaming for taking the series in the end. But a special shout out to TooDming because, hey, even though his team lost, he did put a point on the board. He did fight back for the Starving Camels, and he looked pretty good. He looked pretty damn good in Game 1 against Gerald. GG. GG, well played. And with that, we have concluded Round 1. Week 1 is in the books. We just wrapped up with 3 days back-to-back of World Team League action, and it was a lot of good fun. It was really cool to experience the new patch and the new maps, and starting next week, the starting maps will be the new map pool. Again, just to reiterate, the only reason why the starting maps this round were the old map pool is because they were determined ahead of time, a week ago, before the new patch had launched. Again, we didn't know, and the WTL organizers didn't know that the new patch was coming when it did. They didn't know that it was dropping, which is why the starting maps were the old map pool. But again, that's going to be changing in the coming weeks as we embrace the new patch and we embrace the new maps. We're just quickly going over the previous scores here of tonight. Basilisk taking down Liquid 4-3, and PSISTORM taking down the Camels 5-1 as well. GG. GG. And I hope everyone enjoyed themselves. Again, if you want some more World Team League, next week we get some more World Team League action. These are the standings, which have not been updated. Oh, there we go. The current standings, which don't tell us too much, to be honest. It's only been 1 week, but we have Onside, Shopify, PSISTORM, DKZ. Basically, all the teams that won on the left, all the teams that lost over on the right. Again, there's not really too much to gain from this. Not this early on, but the standings have been updated. And of course, Onside are at that number 1 spot. Basilisk, they did struggle against Team Liquid, which is why they're actually not as high up as we would expect. But I'm sure that'll change as the weeks go by. Meanwhile, again, if you want some more WTL action, 5 days. In 5 days' time, we'll be back with round 2 with 3 more days. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Every single Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from here on forward, we do have WTL. The only, sometimes we do skip weeks. Sometimes weeks are skipped. And that is if there's a big event going on, like DreamHack, for example. And DreamHack is on the horizon. DreamHack is going to be in a couple of weeks. The qualifiers, at least, for DreamHack Winter, for DreamHack Atlanta. So keep your eye out for that. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support. We appreciate it. If you want some more cranky duckling action, !socials. !socials in the chat. You can get a link to our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Discord server. We do upload on YouTube on a daily basis, so check out our YouTube if you are interested. Otherwise, thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can follow myself. I do stream over my own personal channel, and I may be streaming tomorrow. A big maybe, though, because we have a lot of casting to do tomorrow as well. Again, light_VIP on Twitch and Twitter. I stream whenever I can. But tomorrow we're going to be live with ESL Open Cup Asia. That's in less than 24 hours. Actually, you know what? ESL Asia is in 17 hours. 17 hours from now, we're going to be live with ESL Open Cup Asia. And after that, OSC King of the Hill. Back-to-back 2 broadcasts in a row. So we'll see you then. We will see you then. A shout out to Kura for handling the production. A shout out to Asher for casting with me yesterday. And hope everyone in the chat enjoyed themselves. Thank you so much for watching. Stick around. We're going to be giving another StarCraft streamer a raid. Not too sure who, but we'll give it to someone. Well, I'm sure. We'll look into it. And yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow for some more StarCraft. Until then, bye.